All right, here we go again. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez goes on CNN with Jake Tapper. I've praised Jake Tapper before, but I guess I should stop. Because here he is again. Before, it was Medicare for All. He got caught on a so-called fact check where he didn't actually check the facts. So I guess he's bitter about that and he wants to attack progressives again. Or, much more likely is, he's just an establishment guy, always has been. He probably doesn't see himself that way at all. He's probably like, oh, me, establishment? No. What do you do, Jake? What do? You attack progressives every single time. When we go to help the average American, how can you afford that? Constantly, same question every time. Guess what question he asked this time? How can you afford the programs that you're proposing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Jake, I'll predict ahead of time. Next time, whether it's her or it's Bernie Sanders or another progressive, you're going to have the same question. How can you afford it? We can't afford to help the average American. We have to keep the programs basically as it is. But when you have Republicans on, you ask them, how can you afford? You just cost us $1.9 trillion. So, first of all, will you admit, name a Republican, senator, representative, it doesn't matter, that you were lying the entire time you never cared about deficits? Admit you were lying that all the time you talked about deficits, you didn't care because you just put a $1.9 trillion hole in the deficits. You never do that, okay? How can we afford it? How can we afford it? All of a sudden, when it's the rich, we can afford it all day long. But you know what? Maybe they get that from time to time. But the question they never, ever ask, how can we afford the endless wars? What you're talking about invading Iran or ripping up a deal with Iran, John Bolton, random, vicious, greedy Republican, how can we afford another war? The last set of wars cost us several $1 trillion. And what do we get in return? We got dead soldiers. We got dead civilians. We got instability in the Middle East, and we got ISIS. How can we afford that? But you never ask them that question. Whenever it's to help the average American, oh, college for your kids. My kids are fine. I'm super rich. College for your kids, we can't afford it. Oh, I just got another tax cut. I can afford college for my kids all day long. Medicare for all. But that's what every other civilized, developed country in the world does. They do single payer, and they all afford it. In fact, it costs them less. Canada pays half of what we pay for healthcare. How can we afford to stay in this system? Jake Tapper or anyone on CNN, have you ever asked a Republican, how can we afford this current system? Every other developed country pays way, way less and gets better results. How can you afford this system? You must get rid of private insurance right away. You never ask it that way, do you? This time around, he makes up this fantastical number. He claims that he took a left-wing think tank and added up a bunch of numbers and claims that Ocasio-Cortez's proposal would cost $40 trillion. It's the first time I've ever heard that number. So now we're going to go and fact-check Jake Tapper, dollars to donuts, that he's like double counted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that if you count the same way for the Republican programs, it probably costs $80 trillion. But no. When it's Republicans, we play patty cakes, unless it's Donald Trump, because he's not establishment. If you're not establishment, CNN will go after Trump, will go after his corners, and I appreciate that. They should go after them. Those guys are terrible, right? But I'm not saying being biased. I'm saying be fair. Be fair to progressives and conservatives. No, with your establishment and your Lindsey Graham, and you say vicious things about starting more and more wars that will kill possibly hundreds of thousands of people. And about North Korea, he says, that's okay. They're going to die over there. That's what Lindsey Graham said. They're going to die over there. It's okay. And it'll cost us trillions of dollars. Nope, you never ask. Never ask, can we afford that? Only when it helps the average American. And look, you guys got to understand something. And maybe I'm being too understanding of these mainstream anchors. But they genuinely don't understand your pain. And they don't understand your frustration that whenever you go to, anyone ever proposes something that helps you guys, they're like, oh no, we can't do that. It's ridiculous. We can't help the average American. They really don't get that they are establishment, that they are the status quo. That yes, those cable news operators that are multi-billion-dollar corporations hired anchors to make sure we never change the status quo. How do you think you got there? Are there any radical anchors on CNN? Are there any progressive anchors on CNN? And by the way, Jake and all the rest of you, voting for Hillary Clinton does not make you a progressive. Please. Hilarious. That's why you would ask things like to Bernie Sanders during debates, are you really saying that the billions of dollars that the Clinton family has taken in the Clinton Foundation and political donations and speeches, etc., that would affect their decision making? Goddamn right we're saying it. That's corruption. And you never call out the corruption. And anytime there's a progressive on, all of a sudden, oh my God, I do declare. How will we ever pay for that? Meanwhile, how do we pay for this corrupt status quo that has our wages stagnating for the last 40 years, while almost all of the gains go to the tops? But they never asked, how did we pay for that?